Hello fun people, I'm Isaac Carlson, and today I want to talk about whether or not I think we'll ever see Boo return in a second season of Monsters at Work. Now that the first season has unfortunately come to a close, I honestly wasn't confident that we were going to get more episodes because the main pitch of the show is now over. We were told that Monsters at Work was going to show Tylor Tuskman, a recent scare hire from Monsters University, being forced to learn how to become a jokester. And now that's happened. Through Tylor's time with Val and the rest of the MIFTers, he's now on the laugh floor, and Monsters Inc. has successfully switched over to laugh energy. So can the show even move forward at this point? Well, I haven't been feeling very optimistic about that idea. After The Lion Guard Tangled the Series and DuckTales all had their third season wrap up, that's when we started to hear information that the team who was working on those projects had already been split up to work on different series for Disney television animation, or they left the studio altogether. And recently, Steve Anderson, the director of Meet the Robinsons, who was a supervising director on Monsters at Work, announced that he's leaving Disney to search for new opportunities. What all that meant to me was that the show had to be finished. For the longest time, it has seemed like Pixar has been hesitant to depict Sully and Boo's full reunion in a follow-up to the original film, which was why Monsters University was a prequel, and Monsters at Work took place within the timeline that was established in Monsters Inc. But hope has not been lost. You see, on LinkedIn, Disney Television Animation has a variety of positions that are specifically for Monsters at Work. If you're a production coordinator, a storyboard revisionist, a production associate, a character design lead, or a color designer, you could work on this series. Or if you're a Canadian animator, Icon Creative Studio, who animated Monsters at Work, is also hiring, so you should check all of those positions out. You see, even though the first season has finally finished airing, the entire production has probably been done for weeks or most likely months. So since in the last 2 weeks, Disney has been searching for more talent, that means they've got more planned. But what could be next? Well, Tylor just became a jokester, so of course Val and him will surely be trying to figure out how to get used to this new work. The MIFTers probably also need to get some new hires in to help as well now that they lost a lot of their team to the laugh floor. I'm sure Duncan enjoys the consolidation of power, but Monsters Inc. is not a small company. They need more help, especially since Fritz probably needs to retire soon. Cutter, I think, still has quite a few years left in her though. Now, Mike and Sully have a company to run, of course, but with Boo's door rebuilt, we are in a completely new realm. And personally, I felt really conflicted about whether or not another season of Monsters at Work should focus on Boo. It's something we all are curious about, I'm sure, as fans of Monsters Inc., but it's just completely unexplored territory that has to be addressed if we move forward in the timeline. And it has a lot to live up to. Now, sure, the monsters at Monsters Incorporated do seem very comfortable with humans entering the laugh floor, which we saw when a room got damaged and Mike had to watch over the baby he named Snore. I'm sure Monsters would be pretty surprised to see Boo return to the monster world at first, if that ever took place, but at least the ones closest to Sully wouldn't be scared of her anymore. And maybe bringing her to the monster world would continue to change the monster culture, since many monsters probably still fear humans and don't believe that laughter is more powerful than screams. Mike and Sully's adventures so far have changed the monster world forever, and that might continue to happen because of their connection with Boo. But at the same time though, maybe Sully entering Boo's reconstructed door was an isolated incident. I mean, we saw that having a vacation door was against company policy at Monsters Inc., but that could be part of larger rules or regulations that are in place. I don't know if they would technically be allowed by the government organizations they've come across to go back and forth as freely as they would like to. It seems that doors to the human world are only supposed to be used for energy collection and banishment. Doors that are sent to be shredded are technically not supposed to be used by any monster again. Of course, Mike has been shown to feel those rules aren't very necessary from how he tried to get a vacation door himself, but Sully was the one who tried to enforce those policies when the vacation doors were discovered. Even though I think we can all agree that Sully loves Boo, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to jeopardize the monster world being exposed just to get the chance to watch her grow up. Monsters Inc. could be shut down by the CDA or the Monstropolis Energy Regulatory Commission for improper use of doors. Maybe it's illegal for monsters to visit humans. That could just be my rule-following tendencies flaring up or being concerned, but I think it's a legitimate point. I mean, from Sully's ability as CEO to unbanish the abominable snowman. It's possible only the leadership of these energy companies have the opportunity to banish monsters, but that seems really corrupt, unfair, and unjust. I think by how the inspector that visited Monsters Inc. threatened the facilities team about being banished, there are most likely other entities that can banish people, which puts Sully at risk. Sully could be putting a lot in jeopardy to see Boo, including his job, his freedom, and the future of Laugh Power. And that's what I want to see wrestled with in another season of Monsters at Work. I want to see Sully and Mike go back and forth about what they should do about their relationship with Boo, and then we can see how the Mifters and the rest of Monsters Inc. react to the concept of having a connection with a human. I think Monsters at Work could expand upon the question of whether or not Sully should be with Boo again in a very compelling way. What if Tylor bonded with one of the kids he made laugh and discovered that they had a rough time at home or at school? Maybe he would feel drawn to protect them and to use his skills as a scarer, but then he'd have to make a decision around if it's his place to intervene as a monster. If monsters are no longer going to scare and terrify children and instead make them happy and bond with them, what happens when they find out that the children they care for only laugh with them? Do the monsters need to follow tradition and keep their distance, or can monsters and children become friends? That's the central question I would explore in the second season of Monsters at Work, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments, along with any other topics you'd like me to discuss in the future. Also, of course, make sure to subscribe, follow me over on Instagram, linked down below, and as always, thanks for watching and have a magical day.